this should be a lot easier than the cuts.
Yes. Well, unless you don't understand it like me.
Well, I think you've got a pretty darn good grasp. I told Debbie if she, it was really up to her,
She,
if she wanted to come in. All right, you wanna just dive in and go
Yeah,
line by
let's
line
just-
like we did?
Yep,
All right.
just tear it down.
So, with the general fund first,
Okay,
really I didn't see any place that we could increase, cause it's really all tax-based, except for the septic tank permits and installers fees, 323,060 and 323,065.
okay,
We are, you know, we're sandwiched between the two fastest growing counties in the state, and things are selling. We have 7 new businesses coming into town alone, which will bring more people. We have building going on. I think that instead of a 4-year average, we should actually be looking more at the higher numbers.
okay.
And so I just increased that by 1795 to 14,300. Not a big jump.
I'm not for that.
Well, my philosophy, and I'd like to hear yours, Franklin, if you aim low, you'll achieve low. If you aim high, you'll achieve high. We have all the facts behind us that says it's responsible to assume that we are still going in an upwards trajectory, growth-wise. So what is your thinking on making that low?
That just extra cost to the, either the builders or the homeowners.
No, Franklin, this isn't increasing the cost, this is increasing the revenue. So
Well,
instead
Yeah,
of.
when you raise the fees, that's increasing.
No, that's not what we're talking about, Franklin. What this is the number of septic systems. So if you aim to have 10 septic systems permits for the first line for the year, then that's a certain cost, certain revenue. If you plan on having 12 for the year, that's an increased revenue. That's what we're talking about here, is the number of permits, not the cost of the individual permits. Those have to come before us in a public meeting to raise the costs. We're
Fees.
talking about the numbers here with the budget, Franklin. Same with the installer fees. That is not raising the fees, it's raising the numbers of the fees that are associated with the permits. Are you on board now? Yes?
Go ahead.
Are you on board with that, or do you have more arguments against it?
No, I'm,
Okay, good, unanimous. So then with the intergovernmental revenues, FEMA grants, we have 2, the Dry Creek Grant and the Deep Creek Grant. Those were just forgotten. So to infill those, that's about 389, 188.
389, 188.
Yeah.
what was it again?
389, 188.
There's a carryover of 26,000, which in my mind should be revenue, but again, it shows up as an expense.
Oh,
So, it's governmental accounting, it's not like your checkbook. And then charges for services, kind of the same thinking. For the clerk and recorder fees, 341041. What I did is I just looked at what was budgeted last year, 42,000, and carried that over, much like with the septic systems.
so 42,958.
42.5 is what I did.
Okay.
And then, county treasurer fees. I upped that to $20,000 and I have no idea why. County treasurer fees. There was a reason, but I can't remember what it was. So maybe we should, since I can't remember, take that down to $8,000.
Okay.
Debbie will remind me, I'm sure, when she gets here.
So planning, they pretty much stay the same as last year.
Planning right now is on an upwards trajectory, and we have every reason, when you look at the direction the county is going, to assume that that's actually going to be more. So I took that to 1,400.
Okay.
I think it's still quite cautious, quite conservative, but again, if you aim low, you achieve low, and if you aim high, you achieve high. And then for the county nurse, that is way down from last year because we didn't have one. Joni was doing that, but she was also doing WIC. She was really doing as much as she could, but it was more than she really, more than one person could handle.
Sure.
So I actually looked at the average of the previous 3 years
Mhm.
and increased that to 24,000. With our discussions with Wynn, I looked at, hey Mike, how are you?
doing? Good, how are you?
Good fun.
Did you want to join us? Just for fun?
It's a good time.
So Justice Court fines, I do think that Wynn's idea of sitting down with Kirk and Corey is a good one.
Mhm.
I was amazed at the fine against the guy yesterday. I don't know the whole story, but a DUI, driving without a license, and he had to pay $1,000.
Yeah.
That was incredible to me, and not much of a deterrent. Not knowing the whole story, I just think that maybe if those guys sat down and talked, we could come up with,
Something else.
yeah. So, I increased that to 800,
So 35, 10, 10?
yeah. And that is just what it was last year.
Okay.
And then 50% share of fines, I also increased that to 56.5 with the same thing in mind. And civil fees, 4,500, same as last year. Same as last year's actuals.
45.9? 45.49?
I
Just
did 45
yeah.
even, yeah, easy math for me.
Yeah.
And then miscellaneous revenues,
Mhm.
the average for the 4 years was 2631, so I said 2,700.
Okay. Now, what is a miscellaneous revenue?
I talked to Debbie about that. It's, anything that comes in that's unexpected that Doug gets.
Oh. Someone that pays their taxes they didn't think was gonna pay their tax?
There you go, yeah, yeah.
Rotation taxes.
Yeah.
And, rents and leases, I increased that to 7,300, again, $1 off of last year. And then that's an increase of roughly $18,000 in revenue. Well, no, that'd be a lot more than that because of the FEMA.
Right.
The FEMA really should balance that out on its own.
And taxes, see, this is just where,
Oh, district court, because we had a negative in district court, which is 2180, for For local vehicle tax,
Yes.
I increased that to 80 grand because that's what we did last year.
Okay.
For district court, I increased that to 4,700 because that's what we did last year, very small increase. Oh no, it's a big increase because they put in 1,000.
Yeah.
And, district court clerk fees, I just took the average, which was 5760. And so with the cuts and with that revenue, hopefully that account will balance out. And then for planning, which is 2250,
2250, page 10, I think.
What's that?
I think it's page 10.
Yeah, just got, yeah.
Okay.
planning fees, I just increased that by 1,000 to match last year. And then addressing revenue,
What is the first thing? Where,
Line item? Oh, okay,
planning fees.
34,1070,
yeah,
so you change that to 9,
yeah, still very conservative.
okay. And then addressing,
I increased that to 2.
okay.
And that would not be what's part of the sheriff's department contract, but done for citizens.
Yeah.
And again, not increasing the fees, just increasing the number of services.
I need to get one of those signs.
I do too.
UPS won't deliver, even though I have a number on my pole, you still won't deliver.
Really?
Yeah, so, okay, one of those signs.
And I think that was it. The silos, which is back here somewhere, is showing a negative.
Okay.
And that is an error, but Debbie hasn't found it yet. She did find an error with 2501, which is the RID for the silos. The
What
conversion,
page is the silos on?
2, 2501 is page 20.
2501, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
the error she found last night is that when they converted that, Black Mountain, they moved, real property taxes to miscellaneous revenues or vice versa.
oh, okay,
So she has to fix that,
okay.
so that'll be corrected. And then the silos, she's thinking the same thing happened, somehow the conversion put their money in another fund, which happened with search and rescue as well.
Okay,
So, she's gonna try and find that, but in order to balance the budget, we may have to put some money into there from PILT.
okay.
And it's 2712, the very last page.
2712. 5712?
Yes,
Okay. Oh, the negative 13?
yeah. Yeah, so we, that should be increased, we just don't know by how much yet.
Okay.
But really, we could go through and increase these. The camping facility fees, I would say 2,500
Okay.
for that. And it's her cash reserve that's negative. And then the gazebo, showing it negative 512, that's clearly an error. 4,500 is probably about right. And that should be good.
All right.
All right.
That works.
So we have some contracts from Dick,
Okay.
and
Oh,
then
yes.
Brian sent me a contract yesterday for the county attorney for Stillwater.
Oh, right on.
So share that with you. have a couple of minutes, I'd like to talk about goals for next year as far as some of our extra requests.
Sure.
All right,
Job looks good.
I didn't sign that one. That's okay, consent one comes back.
Deputies, he said the deputy job looks good. That was the only change?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes it easy, huh?
Mm-hmm. Now, when did the public health nurse say she wanted to start? She started this week already?
I have not heard yet. I expect to follow up with that.
I don't know. A lot when he talks about pounds, he puts the number sign, is that supposed to be LBS?
Actually, that's the sign for pound.
Oh, okay. See, I learned something new.
I may have to go down to Michelle's, oh, here they are. We have one for the county health nurse, right?
Yes.
I thought so, all
Right here.
right.
Public health.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
oh,
weird.
WIC coordinator, okay.
And this is public health nurse right here.
That's a homemaker.
Oh, last time, oh
It just looks different. I was wondering if you'd reformatted.
my, that's the way she printed it.
Yeah. Looks way different.
So did she retype it?
I'm wondering if, because we didn't have one, if Dick didn't just use one and throw it in for us to
Okay.
mark up.
Shouldn't, this be graduation from high school or GED required, not a plus?
Or preferred. Yeah. Yeah, good catch. Thank you, yeah, she oversees 3 people, Wick, the administrative assistant, and the homemaker.
Holy Moses.
So here's the contract.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, I've got some issues with. The rest of it seems pretty boilerplate.
What's your concern on that?
Well, first of all, I think that probably Cory will want to handle the criminal stuff. But aside from that, what the rest of the county needs is the civil. And in my opinion, and from talking with Harold and Michelle and Brian on the phone prior to yesterday, we need to have somebody who is here who answers to the commission, not just to Cory, because what we will run into with him being gone 30% of the time is, well, I can't get to that, I have to wait for Cory to get back. Or Cory wanting to double check their work as he's currently doing with both Michelle and Tara's advice to planning and to the commission. Our problem is we've got a lot of civil stuff that is over a year old that's still not resolved. The BLM issue is from 2014. If we are going to pay the money to have another attorney, either by contract or not, they've got to answer also to us, so that they have the authority to give us the answers we need when we need it.
Well, I would agree with that. I
The
think
last-
it's just, we would just word that differently.
Yeah, I asked Brian last night to help with the wording on that and explained why, which he understands.
For sure.
So, yeah, just more or less at this point sharing it with you.
It's pretty, I think if we just reworded 3 differently, I think that would fit us pretty.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's a
'cause
lot
it-
less expensive than a whole new employee.
Oh, for sure.
And helps us to maybe get somebody in town who can do 50% of their time on private
Civil,
stuff.
Yeah.
So the other things, and we can save this till Monday if you want, but the library,
Yes.
question. And then the other question, that we had from Julie was the sanitarian help. She is our top paid employee, one of them. And she's spending time doing filing. She has grants that she isn't able to apply for because she doesn't have time. She used to have an assistant who worked from 8 to 10 every day, did filing, caught up on phone calls, drafted rough drafts of letters, those types of things that save a lot of time. When she retired, Julie came to us for a sanitarian and training. She had kind of a 3-year plan. What we said is, it's not a 3-year training process. Come to us when you have more of a solid date. And we never addressed it again. Now she's come to us asking for what she used to have. She's asking for more hours, 16 to 20, but I think we need to somehow consider addressing at least the, 10 hours a week that she used to have. Also, the commission needs at least 2 hours a week, not a lot, but we need somebody to come in and do filing. I'm far exceeding my 32 hours, and I don't foresee that the next commission is going to be any more involved.
Filing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we're
so,
a 12-hour person.
yeah, at least. I think 12 would be fine, extremely full, part-time with the ability to move up. That's kind of what we're looking for,
And what's the wage we're looking at?
$12 an hour, probably at the bottom, the starting point.
Is that what Chase makes?
Yeah. Yeah. Chase, there is a request, as we tabled it, for a market adjustment. We'll need to be able to answer some of those, I think, in November.
Right.
But, those are just some of the, grant writer. I'm kind of excited for planning. She is interested in grant writing. One of the departments, Bob Fry, is kind of a guru in the DES arena. He was at that Hebkin training. I told you this before, but he said to me, you guys really need to get a grant writer for DES, because your DES coordinator shouldn't be spending all their time on grant writing. They make too much money and they have too many other responsibilities.
Sure.
Nicole is already a deputy DES employee. She doesn't get paid anything more for it, but maybe she could take on some of the DES grants in administration as well. And that would help get her the training to do other grants.
Sure.
She did the jail diversion grant last year. And had we been able to actually take that to the end, we might have actually had 4 jobs come with it. So she's had some successes. I don't know that we need any more money for that, but we might as a startup fee or a startup cost. But after she gets her legs under her, most grant writers pay for themselves with administration
Yeah.
costs. And the only other thing is what we talked about yesterday in our closed door. I'll just talk in generalities unless you want me to close the door. That money for that benefit needs to change to the department's budget. The reason I say that is currently it's coming out of the health insurance budget, and if our employees have to pay more above the increase next year to help pay for that one employee's benefit, that is absolutely unconscionably not right. If we can take those extra costs out of the health insurance and put it into the department, I think it would be much more fair and protect the rest of the employees. If you guys are good with that. And it may just be temporary on the 100%, but it sounds like the Aflac may be continuing.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Brian on that first before we switch that over to just instead of causing. I agree somewhat to that, but I would just hate to cause more issues over it. So I'd like to talk to Brian on that.
Yeah, do we have another
I
call
don't
with
think the
him?
decisions are set in stone.
Huh?
I don't think the decisions are set in stone, are
Our decision?
they? No, hers.
From Brian, the way Brian said, we had to plan like it was, we had to keep it. So we have to plan that way.
Right,
So, yeah, I think we need to talk to him on that and just get
Okay.
clarification on that. Maybe we could meet with him on Monday, cause you're gone on Tuesday, so maybe we can call him on Monday and get clarification on that.
and I think it'd be good to have Michelle on that call as well. She was pretty strong the other direction.
Sure.
Maybe listening to the two of them debate would be a good thing for us.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I had. The rest of this, maybe we can come to some solids on Monday. I think we'll have something
Sure.
back from the library and a report from Debbie.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think going off the numbers from what we've done here last 2 days or last week, 2 weeks, I think we're finally headed to the right direction.
all right. Well, with that, I think we will adjourn this meeting.
All right.
Anything else for the good of the order?
No,
We're finally adjourned after 3 days at 7:45.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You have to forward now for,
Yeah, another exciting day.
hopefully,
All right. Oh, it's been so long.